Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about our identity in Christ with our voices. And when I'm using voice, I'm not talking about my voice, I'm talking about something different. So when we talk about losing our voice, we might be talking about getting a bad cold or a laryngitis, or we might be talking about our voice as something deeper or purposeful, like using our voices when we vote. But today when I talk about our voice, I'm talking about our most authentic self. I'm talking about the real us, not hidden, but the one that's expressed in the world around us. Our voice captures our passions, our values, our gifts, and our talents. Our voice is our identity in action, making its unique contribution to the world. Most importantly, our sense of purpose and our vocation is an integral part of our God-given design. From the beginning, God's people had a twofold purpose: to know God intimately, but also to represent Him in the whole world. The people of God were given a commission to bear spiritual fruit. They were given the responsibility to live as a blessing to the whole world. Genesis 1:28 through 31 says, God blessed them. God said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and every creature that crawls on the earth." God also said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant on the surface of the entire earth, and every tree whose fruits contains seed. This will be food for you. For all the wildlife of the earth, for every bird of the sky, for every creature that crawls on the earth, everything having breath of life in it, I have given every green plant for food," and it was so. God saw that He had made, and it was very good indeed. Evening came, and the morning, the sixth day. Throughout biblical history, this commission would continue. God's people were to be a light to the nations. Their lives would illustrate what knowing God looked like through their relationships and their actions. And when Jesus invited people into His relationship, He also invited them to contribute alongside Him. God redeems our voices. He gives us a new song. I've noticed that many women downplay their passions and gifts. Sometimes it's out of shyness or embarrassment, yet often that insecurity grows out of past experiences like bullies on the playground or something a mean girl said to you in high school. At times, women apologize for who they are. They minimize their abilities as if they're expecting somebody to tell them they're arrogant or prideful for having talent, ability, and dreams. Some women, especially those who reach high levels of influence in their field, are plagued by what's known as imposter syndrome, or the imposter experience. Even though they're highly accomplished, they are overwhelmed by self-doubt and worried that they're about to be exposed and lose their jobs. I'll get it out here in a second. So several years ago, I had the opportunity to serve as department head for the high school that I was teaching science at. Near the end of the year, I had a meeting with the principal. He told me that I spoke too loudly, that I was not serious because I told jokes when I spoke to a crowd, and I laughed too much. And because of this, I was a bad leader. No one could take me seriously. So I was written up. I got a permanent write-up in my file because I had too much personality. I eventually lost my job as department head, and I later left that high school. I did not fit into the mold that they had created that an educator or a leader had to fit into. And so that made me bad at it. I won't ever forget feeling that I was wrong. I was made wrong, like incorrectly, and that I was bad at my job. I felt like I needed to suppress myself, not to speak or to laugh, and I became very self-conscious when I was in a crowd. I didn't want to come off as too strong. I was confused about who I was compared to who God created me to be. Side note, I was awarded Science Teacher of the Year that year and the year after, so I guess the principal didn't have a vote on that. God sees who you are, who you fully are. He sees your story. He sees the life you can bring, and He sees your potential and your purpose. He knows and hears your voice. The God who sees you is worth knowing. He has the power to redeem your voice and give you a new song. Think about the bully or the mean girl or the ex-husband or the old boss or the boss now Think about the situation where you lost your voice and ask God to redeem your voice. Love you, girls.